Good day and God bless you. Welcome to the Bible reading in chronological order. It's just such a privilege to have you with us and joining us in this venture. It's just such a blessed thing to be able to go through the word of the Lord together. And I pray that this overview and that the reading would just be such a blessing to you. And may the Lord just speak to us today through His word. We're going through the book of Psalms still, and we're going to be looking at quite a few chapters. Chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 12, chapter 13, chapter 28, and chapter 55. So I'm going to go briefly into them. I'm going to give a couple of hints as to where to look for the corresponding passages, but I'm not going to go too in depth today. But let's just look at it. Chapter 3, we see that this is a psalm of David in which he sings about the divine protection of the Most High God. Now this is something that, as we're going through the corresponding passages in 2 Samuel and in the book of Chronicles, we see that David absolutely needed the divine protection of the Lord because he was at war with his son. Not that David wanted to be at war with his son, but Absalom was trying to usurp the throne at this time. And so David is pleading with the Lord for divine protection, and he is calling on the name of the Lord to help him in this situation because he did not want to harm his son in any way. Then we see chapter 4, David prays that the Lord will hear him when he calls. He recognizes that the Lord will hear those who are godly and those that are set apart by God. He knows that the Lord will not forsake them, that the Lord will hear their cry and their prayer. And so he has confidence in this. But I love this psalm when you're looking at the imagery, especially the imagery of the corn and the wine. Now, I want you to look at this, and I want you to go through in your personal study, to go through this imagery and track it through the scripture, because you might be very surprised at this imagery and why this imagery is so important. I've put in a little hint here on the slide, which I shouldn't have done, but I thought maybe let's give you a little bit of a head start in that way. But anyway, we get to chapter 12, and in chapter 12, David, impoverished of human comfort, craves the help of the Lord. He is at such a desperate point in his life. He is looking at his son trying to usurp the throne. He knows that the prophecy of the prophet Nathan will come to pass, that his wives will be taken from him, his concubines will be taken from him, all of that. He knows that all of this is going to happen, and so he just can't find comfort in the help of man, and he craves help and comfort from the Lord. He sings of the judgment of the Lord on the wicked. Now again, there's such beautiful imagery, and the imagery of being purified 7 times in the fire. I've asked the question here, where is that seen again? We all know where it's seen again, but we're gonna leave it at that. I want you to think about that. Where do we see that the fire was heated up 7 times for something? I'm not going to give too much away. Let's leave it at that. But just remember and look at that imagery. It is so impactful and so powerful. Then we see chapter 13. In this psalm, David cries out for help from God, that his enemies may not rejoice over his hurt. David takes comfort in the Lord and trusts Him to deliver his own. David is praying that the Lord would also give the person that is hunting after him some sort of understanding there as well, that they mustn't rejoice over the hurt of another person. But when you go through it, you'll understand there how difficult this is, especially knowing that Absalom is looking to kill David at this point. Then we get to chapter 28, and in chapter 28, David prays for the destruction of his enemies. He blesses God and acknowledges God as the source of his protection and help. And so David prays to the Lord for his people. David is still king over Israel, and even though Absalom is usurping the throne from David at this point, and he's got many of the Israelites that are backing him, David still has a following of valiant men, and David is still at this point, he just longs for the Lord to come and intervene on his behalf, because he knows he cannot do this on his own. And then in chapter 55, David complains of his fearful case. I would like for us to look at this psalm and really meditate on the psalm in a very much more prophetic sense, looking at the betrayal of the Messiah by one of his disciples. David is talking here in this psalm about being betrayed by someone you love. And I want us to look at it in the light of Jesus and Judas Iscariot. The correlation could give us a lot of insight to the burden and the shame inflicted on the righteous one by someone that he loved so dearly. So when you're going through the psalm, even though you know David is writing this and maybe writing from his experience, but also this is very prophetic in the way that the Lord was betrayed by one that he loved. And I'm going to leave it there for today. I pray that the Lord would bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you. May he give you peace. God bless you as you enjoy the reading of the word today.
Psalm 3. Lord, how are they increased that trouble me? Many are they that rise up against me. Many there be which say of my soul, there is no help for him in God. Selah. But thou, O Lord, art a shield for me, my glory and the lifter up of mine head. I cried unto the Lord with my voice, and he heard me out of his holy hill. Selah. I laid me down and slept. I awaked, for the Lord sustained me. I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people that have set themselves against me round about. Arise, O Lord. Save me, O my God. For thou hast smitten all mine enemies upon the cheekbone. Thou hast broken the teeth of the ungodly. Salvation belongeth unto the Lord. Thy blessing is upon thy people. Selah. Psalm 4. Hear me when I call, O God of my righteousness. Thou hast enlarged me when I was in distress. Have mercy upon me, and hear my prayer. O ye sons of men, how long will ye turn my glory into shame? How long will ye love vanity, and seek after leasing? Selah. But know that the Lord hath set apart him that is godly for himself. The Lord will hear when I call unto him. Stand in awe and sin not. Commune with your own heart upon your bed, and be still. Selah. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness, and put your trust in the Lord. There be many that say, who will show us any good? Lord, lift thou up the light of thy countenance upon us. Thou hast put gladness in my heart, more than in the time that their corn and their wine increased. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. Psalm 12. Help, Lord, for the godly man ceaseth, for the faithful fail from among the children of men. They speak vanity every one with his neighbor, with flattering lips and with a double heart do they speak. The Lord shall cut off all flattering lips, and the tongue that speaketh proud things, who have said, with our tongue will we prevail, our lips are our own, who is Lord over us? For the oppression of the poor, for the sighing of the needy, now will I arise, saith the Lord. I will set him in safety from him that puffeth at him. The words of the Lord are pure words, as silver tried in a furnace of earth, purified 7 times. Thou shalt keep them, O Lord. Thou shalt preserve them from this generation forever. The wicked walk on every side, when the vilest men are exalted. Psalm 13. How long wilt thou forget me, O Lord? Forever? How long wilt thou hide thy face from me? How long shall I take counsel in my soul, having sorrow in my heart daily? How long shall mine enemy be exalted over me? Consider and hear me, O Lord my God. Lighten mine eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death, lest mine enemy say, I have prevailed against him. And those that trouble me rejoice when I am moved. I have trusted in thy mercy. My heart shall rejoice in thy salvation. I will sing unto the Lord, because he hath dealt bountifully with me. Psalm 28. Unto thee will I cry, O Lord, my rock. Be not silent to me, lest if thou be silent to me, I become like them that go down into the pit. Hear the voice of my supplications when I cry unto thee, when I lift up my hands toward thy holy oracle. Draw me not away with the wicked and with the workers of iniquity, which speak peace to their neighbors, but mischief is in their hearts. Give them according to their deeds, and according to the wickedness of their endeavors. Give them after the work of their hands. Render to them their desert. Because they regard not the works of the Lord, nor the operation of his hands, he shall destroy them, and not build them up. Blessed be the Lord, because he hath heard the voice of my supplications. The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusted in him, and I am helped. Therefore my heart greatly rejoices, and with my song will I praise him. The Lord is their strength, and he is the saving strength of his anointed. Save thy people, and bless thine inheritance. Feed them also, and lift them up forever. Psalm 55. Give ear to my prayer, O God, and hide not thyself from my supplication. Attend unto me and hear me. I mourn in my complaint and make a noise, because of the voice of the enemy, because of the oppression of the wicked. For they cast iniquity upon me, and in wrath they hate me. My heart is sore pained within me, and the terrors of death are fallen upon me. Fearfulness and trembling are come upon me, and horror hath overwhelmed me. And I said, Oh, that I had wings like a dove, for then would I fly away and be at rest. Lo, then would I wander far off and remain in the wilderness. Selah. I would hasten my escape from the windy storm and tempest. Destroy, O Lord, and divide their tongues, for I have seen violence and strife in the city. Day and night they go about it upon the walls thereof. Mischief also and sorrow are in the midst of it. Wickedness is in the midst thereof. Deceit and guile depart not from her streets. For it was not an enemy that reproached me. Then I could have borne it. Neither was it he that hated me that did magnify himself against me. Then I would have hid myself from him. But it was thou, a man mine equal, my guide and mine acquaintance. We took sweet counsel together, and walked unto the house of God in company. Let death seize upon them, and let them go down quick into hell, for wickedness is in their dwellings and among them. As for me, I will call upon God, and the Lord shall save me. Evening and morning and at noon will I pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice. He hath delivered my soul in peace from the battle that was against me, for there were many with me. God shall hear and afflict them, even he that abideth of old. Selah. Because they have no changes, therefore they fear not God. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. But thou, O God, shalt bring them down into the pit of destruction. Bloody and deceitful men shall not live out half their days. But I will trust in thee.